Welcome to the Deep Dive. We are taking a stack of hyper-specific local news and information sources and really pulling out the universal lessons hidden inside.
Yeah.
Today, our mission is sort of dual-focused.
Yeah.
We're looking at community development strategies in a place that's growing fast, and we're also extracting what I think is the ultimate executive leadership playbook from a source deep dive on a local COO.
And what's so fascinating here, I think, is that the blueprint for managing that kind of rapid expansion, whether it's an organization or a whole city, it's always in the details.
Right.
We're looking at how institutions strategically build capacity and, how successful people pivot when that very success threatens to outpace their resources.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're going from City Hall all the way to the hospital boardroom to see how growth is managed at every level. We'll start with the nuts and bolts of governance. Why robust community engagement isn't just a political nicety.
No, it's a core strategic necessity.
Exactly.
And you don't have to look any further than the Mansfield ISD superintendent search for a perfect example.
Okay.
When an institution has to make a decision this big, the first strategic step is always mitigating risk. And they do that through structured community input. The district isn't just looking for a new leader.
Yeah.
They're using this whole process, which is managed by a firm, JG Consulting, to align the candidate profile with what the public actually expects.
And that alignment, that requires an incredible logistical commitment. The district is running 5 in-person town hall meetings all through November.
5 at different high schools.
Right, all at 6:30 p.m. And then they couple that with an online webinar on December 2nd.
And this is such a critical point. It shows how these big institutional decisions really rely on sophisticated, multi-channel engagement. They are deliberately minimizing the risk of a political backlash by making sure every geographic pocket, every demographic feels heard.
The people who can show up in person and the ones who need that digital access.
Exactly. That structured outreach, that's the foundation of institutional trust.
So shifting over to the city level, the city council has been busy building its own capacity. They strategically held dual meetings just before the Thanksgiving holiday.
Which is just smart. It shows clear foresight in their operational planning. They're avoiding that staff disruption that always happens late in the month.
Right.
And in those meetings, they did a review of the 2020 Parks and Recreation Master Plan. And when we talk about planning paying off, you see it right here. The team has already received 3 regional awards from the Texas Recreation and Park Society.
So that's external validation. It proves the strategy is working.
It is.
And we can see the tangible results of that foresight. The project's nearing completion or in development. You've got Geyer Commons, the Veterans Memorial at Julian Field Park, and the first phase of Catherine Rose Memorial Park.
And these aren't just names on a list. They are crucial quality-of-life infrastructure investments. They're designed specifically to handle a growing population.
Yeah, and that focus on infrastructure isn't just about recreation, is it?
Not at all. It's about core economic development. The approved agreement for a project called the Shops at Broad, that is the tangible return on their economic policy decisions.
It's a huge vote of confidence. We're talking major retailers coming in, Total Wine, Barnes & Noble, Old Navy, plus a bunch of new restaurants. That signals that the strategy to attract those big destination tenants is succeeding. And that's crucial for the future tax base.
But, growth isn't just about attracting new shops. It's about maintaining stability. The council also approved 9 consent agenda items.
Right. And for anyone who doesn't know, those are the routine, non-controversial measures.
Yeah, minor contracts, regulatory updates, they get passed in bulk without a big discussion.
And we always tend to focus on the big deals, the flashy stuff. But operational integrity, it really depends on those unglamorous updates.
It does. If you connect this back to strategy, growth means nothing if the underlying governance, the regulatory compliance that ensures community safety isn't rigorously maintained.
So true.
So the city is clearly focused on building physical space and stable governance, but what's equally important is tending to the cultural and operational pulse of the community.
Okay.
And we've pulled together several details that really reveal this hidden layer of strategic engagement.
Let's start with the culture part.
Okay.
The Veteran Arts Exhibition, open through November 22nd in downtown Mansfield. And this is so much more than just pictures on a wall.
Oh, it's an immersive experience. They've dedicated specific display rooms to each branch of the military, and they integrated these interactive kiosks with recorded interviews from the artists.
That's fantastic.
And the detail that some of these featured artists have gained international recognition, that highlights a real commitment to cultivating and honoring local talent.
And then The city is also making its essential, but, often unseen services really accessible and even fun.
Yeah.
The Public Works Open House on November 15th. It's a masterclass in infrastructure PR.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you get citizens to care about water main maintenance?
Right.
You host live demonstrations, pipe tapping, water main break repairs, even taking apart a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
And of course, the star attraction is the city's leak detection dog, River.
Of course.
And that kind of strategy builds public trust in services that people usually only notice when they fail.
Yeah. Now, a quick look at the competitive intensity in the community, which you can always see in high school sports. The MISD football season just wrapped up, and it shows a really high competitive standard. We need to go through every record, but the fact that you have 3 schools qualifying for tough playoff matchups, it just tells you the athletic institutions are operating at a very high level.
And that high competitive performance, it really mirrors the high-stakes environment where the city's executives and institutions are operating. It sort of underscores the community's general ethos of striving for excellence.
Okay, here's a piece of unexpected knowledge for you. Saturday, November 15th is National Drummer Day.
I did not know that.
The sources describe drummers as the backbone of every great song.
And I love that detail because it's a great metaphor for those essential supportive roles. The humorous part about their uncanny ability to haul 37 pieces of gear to every gig, it just emphasizes that the people who maintain the rhythm, the consistent players, they often bear the greatest unseen logistical burden.
That's a great point. Okay, to wrap up this section, let's talk about operational efficiency, both personal and professional. Methodist Mansfield shared some sleep health tips. They recommend 6 to 8 hours a night.
The simple advice is always the hardest to follow, isn't it?
Always. A consistent schedule, avoiding late caffeine and heavy meals, and ditching the blue light from your devices.
They also specifically highlighted the danger of using alcohol as a sleep aid. It's so common, but it's a destructive habit. It just severely disrupts your REM cycle and prevents that deep restorative sleep.
Sleep really is the ultimate operational capacity management for your brain.
Exactly.
We also found a fantastic operational hack for homeowners. Some home services advice suggested leveraging the slow season for HVAC companies.
Which is late in the year, right before Christmas. It's all about strategic timing.
So what's the why behind that?
Well, the why is what matters. This is when manufacturers offer rebates or they include free equipment like water heaters or AC units just to move inventory. So that allows consumers to get significantly better deals. It's about timing your capital spending to the supply chain flow.
That's smart. And finally, the cocktail of the week, the Gridiron Grog. It's spiced rum, pear nectar, lime juice, and cinnamon simple syrup. And the historical note is that grog was originally just diluted rum served to British sailors in the 1700s.
Just a little moment of historical perspective. It was originally an adaptation diluted rum designed to serve as both hydration and a morale boost. Even a simple drink has its roots in strategic adaptation under tough conditions.
So if the city's strategy is all about building infrastructure capacity, then the strategy of its leaders has to be building personal and organizational capacity.
Right.
Which brings us to Carine Moura. She's the vice president and COO of Texas Health Hospital Mansfield and was recently honored in the 40 Under 40 list. Her career trajectory is, it's a pure high-growth executive playbook.
Her path is just remarkably unconventional. It shows this inherent adaptability. She was a preacher's kid, grew up in Brazil, spoke only Portuguese until she was 10, and then she moved constantly. Florida, boarding school in Georgia, New York, college in Tennessee. That kind of life demands resilience. It demands a quick ability to synthesize new environments.
She started her career in corporate strategy planning and market research at Advent Health down in Orlando. But the pivotal decision, the real turning point, came when she accepted a temporary 6-month assignment in Mansfield.
To open the brand new hospital campus in 2020.
Exactly. She took a calculated risk and she stayed.
And that one decision led to just exponential career growth in 4 years. From marketing manager to director of business development, and now she's the COO and vice president.
That's an incredible progression.
That kind of rapid progression, it just shows the reward for proving you're indispensable in a greenfield, high-growth environment.
And what a growth environment it was. She had to open a major hospital in the middle of 2020. That required an immediate strategic pivot. How do you open a new facility and staff 400 new positions when all your traditional recruitment channels are locked down?
It required radical agility. They had to switch immediately to digital marketing, social media campaigns, highly targeted recruitment ads. That level of operational shock on day one, it forces crisis management skills that you just can't learn in business school.
And the operational challenges just compounded from there. They had to manage the initial COVID surge, which sometimes meant closing non-essential departments, like surgery, just to staff the overflow floors.
Right.
And then they had to quickly shift gears again.
That shift was key. Once the surge slowed down, the challenge became marketing to fill the beds for their standard services. They experienced this really erratic ramp-up curve, not the steady climb you planned for, and that required constant recalibration of resources and messaging.
So now her challenge has evolved from crisis management to success management. What's her biggest headache today? It's what she calls the good problem of space management.
The community, the staff, the physicians, they've already outgrown the campus.
Already.
So her current strategic focus is securing physical space for future growth. That means she's managing 3 significant construction projects at the same time: a hybrid operating room, expanding the women's wing, and driving outpatient growth. This is the ultimate example of a leader constantly building organizational capacity to meet that community demand curve. And on a personal level, her strategy for success is rooted in mentorship. She credits a Kenneth Rose and a very clear 5-year goal of becoming a facility CEO.
Her approach to sustainability and, work-life balance is just as insightful. She relies on a deep trust in her team so she can delegate effectively. And she prioritizes these non-work routines, like a long walk with her dog, Sky.
Which is a half husky, half Australian cattle dog mix.
Right. That simple routine is so crucial for mental capacity management in a role with that level of stress.
And when she was asked for advice for her younger self, she emphasized, don't be so hard on yourself. She focused on striving for excellence over perfection.
And that small detail, it tells you so much about the internal pressure that high achievers put on themselves.
It's a really essential insight into executive self-management, recognizing that the pursuit of perfection can actually stall necessary action, especially in a high-growth environment where speed and adaptability are more important than flawless execution.
And just for those fun details that humanize the executive, her lightning round revealed she prefers night, Netflix, bro country, soup, and her favorite ice cream is cotton candy.
Bro country. Interesting.
So, what does all of this mean for you? The narrative here is one of synchronous growth. The city is focused on expanding its physical infrastructure, new shops, major park projects, the hospital expansion. And at the same time, its leaders, like Carine Moura, succeed by prioritizing radical adaptability, rapid career progression, and that constant building of professional and organizational capacity. Growth always demands constant building, whether it's concrete or career skills.
And we spent time looking at these highly specialized local documents, and the deep insights are always hidden there. They're in the details of a park's master plan review or a leader's decision to pivot to digital recruitment during a pandemic. That's where the strategy lives.
Absolutely. We've seen that Mansfield is focusing heavily on physical and economic expansion, but success rarely comes from just the obvious investments alone.
So my final provocative thought for you to mull over is this. We've covered all the highly visible expansions, but what strategic, non-obvious element, from the necessity of rigorous regulatory updates, which the City Council pushes through, to the subtle rise of new community pastimes like pickleball, which Carine Moura admitted she's trying to learn, what non-obvious element will ultimately define the city's quality of life and sustain success in the next 5 years?
Which quiet investment will yield the greatest long-term return? Something to ponder until our next deep dive. Thanks for listening.